Hey guys, my name is Tiffany and welcome back to another video. So in this one I thought I would share with you guys a little story time on how it took me 4 weeks to get my NCLEX results. So basically, I wanted to share with you guys this story time so that way no one out there experiences what I had to go through. But basically, I graduated nursing school in May of 2016 and I was prepping for the NCLEX and took it in June of 2016. So after I took the NCLEX, I got into my car and I sat and did the Pearson VUE trick. So for all of you guys out there who are not familiar what that is, basically it's where you go in and try to register for the test. And if it lets you go through and you're able to register, then that means that you failed. But if you are unable to register, then it means that you passed. So I'm not sure how useful this trick is and if it works for everyone. I've heard cases where it doesn't work, but for me it did. It's just that I had a circumstance that basically was out of my control that the BRN screwed me over for. So I remember waiting 72 hours, which is typically the minimum wait time for you to find your NCLEX results. And during that time, a lot of my classmates already found out if they passed or not. So I was wondering by the 72-hour mark, where are my results? I didn't see anything on the website regarding my passing results or not. So I thought, okay, maybe I didn't pass and that I would just have to wait to find out if I failed or not. So by the end of the week, typically after the first week, a lot of people find out whether they failed or passed. And so if you didn't pass, then usually you would get a letter in the mail basically saying that you have to re-register for the test, and they give you a big packet of papers for you to read. So I was waiting for that packet because I assumed by at this point that I didn't pass. And after that week, I still didn't receive anything in the mail either. So I thought, okay, maybe they lost my forms. So I called the BRN to ask them to resend them to me. And basically they couldn't tell me anything. They were not even sure whether I passed or failed or not. And they basically told me that I'd have to wait 4 weeks, which was the maximum wait time for me to find my results. So I was in complete utter shock, and I was just like, please give me some sort of hint to know whether I passed or failed, because at this point I wasn't even sure, and I wanted to know whether I had to go back and start studying again. But every single time I called, they would basically say the same thing, that I have to wait 4 weeks to know my results. So basically for the 4 weeks, I would call them every single day or every other day. Trying to get into the BRN is seriously the biggest struggle. And especially in California, the Board of Registered Nursing is super impacted and there's not a lot of staff. So they get extremely busy and it just takes them forever to even get a response. So sometimes I would be put on hold for like 30 minutes up to like 2 hours was the longest I had to wait before, and ended up when I got through to someone, they basically would tell me the same thing, like I would have to wait for my results. So it was so strange because literally everyone in my class got the results at this point, and I was the only one that didn't have any results yet. I didn't even know whether I passed or failed or not. And so I was just wondering, like, why am I being screwed over? Like, why me? Like, what is the reasoning? Like, I don't understand. So basically, I didn't eat or sleep for 4 weeks straight. I literally cried myself to sleep like every single day. I just wanted to know whether or not at this point I passed or failed. Like, if I failed, I'm okay with it. I just needed to know. So after the 4 week time of waiting, I basically called the BRN, and it was my last day of the 4th week. And luckily I was able to get through to this super nice man, and he basically looked through my registration and looked through everything and said that, oh, we're missing your transcripts. And I thought that was so strange, and I couldn't even imagine that would be this case, because if everyone else in my class was able to get the results, the school sends the transcripts in a whole group for our class. So the fact that only mine was missing was truly weird to me. And that's just sometimes it happens because they have to deal with thousands and thousands of nurses, and the BRN gets extremely busy and they may lose all these forms in the mail, or they may just lose it somehow. So I immediately got off the phone with him, and I remember him telling me that he is going to try his best to get my results up within the next day. So he told me that as soon as we hang up, send him the transcripts right away. So basically I got off the phone, immediately sent him my transcripts again. And then that night at midnight, I got my results. And I remember sitting in my room, crying my eyes out, finding out that I passed. And it was just probably the most traumatic experience ever because I had to wait 4 weeks to know that. And it was so sad and disheartening to have to know that 4 weeks later, I finally found out that I passed. But I'm grateful that I did. It just was so tiring having to wait for those results, but I'm glad that it worked out in the end. And don't be like me, and make sure that you follow up with the BRN. So my tip and advice for you guys out there, so that you guys don't experience what I went through, is follow up with the BRN and make sure they have everything that they need. Make sure to have your fingerprints put in, make sure that they have your transcripts if you don't get your results within the 72 hours to the week mark. So give them some time, because I know sometimes the results may take a little while. You may not get it within the 48, 72 hours, and you may not get it within a week. But if it's anything more than that, make sure to follow up with them and ask them, do you guys have the necessary paperwork? Because I didn't even think in my right mind that that would be the case for me, because everyone in my class was able to get the results. So I don't know why it was just my transcript that they lost. But it was a circumstance that was out of my control, and I'm glad that I was able to overcome it. It definitely was a hindering process in my job hunting, because I wasn't able to use my license and put it on my resume to show them that I am a registered nurse. So it did take some time for me during the application process. And what is also interesting is that I even spent money getting an interim permit. Basically what that is you get a permit saying that you are a registered nurse, and it's that time period between waiting for your license to come in. And so I even put money into getting that, and it didn't even help me at all. So don't waste your money on that. I don't think it's worth it. But yeah, that is basically my story time, and I hope no one out there ever experiences what I have to go through. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.